I'd already kind of knew people at Thrasher. Jake Phelps. I can't even ollie. I was scared of getting skateboards to my face.
I got the piss beat out of me in Venice.
Trying to pee standing up. How did Cersei put it? You're a girl and you can stand up. Get on the team now. And I'm like, well, I'm fast. I transcend age. And then I'm like, a woman? It's about fucking time. Well, Lindsey would make us money because I'm that good. Iconic. I love using that word. It's my turn. I'm speaking now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's no one, she's no one, we're no one.
Well, let's go there. Let's teleport.
Let's just get
San Diego. Torrey Pines.
Yeah, San Diego. Here,
and it's like we got, you're in high school. Not even, you're like 10 years old. What's going on? Because I know you were on the surf team back then.
I wasn't on the surf team until I learned how to surf. This was actually, I was on the surf team like way too early. Should not have been, but they were like, you're a girl and you can stand up. Get on the team now, which is a lot of pressure when like now all of a sudden you're competing. And I had just learned, like I went to a YMCA surf camp and learned how to surf that summer. Okay. So this is like 7th grade. How old are you in 7th grade? 12?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Like I think I should have learned a lot more before competition was put in the mix, you know? So, but yeah, you're a girl, you can stand up. And I was like, that's cool. I'm special.
I like to go sideways. Because there wasn't a lot of action sports girls back in the day.
I mean, oddly enough, at our school there wasn't. And at Torrey Pines there wasn't.
But there's also the action DNA in San Diego is pretty healthy. You've got Tony Hawk was from that area, right?
Tony Hawk he went to my high school before me.
Right, because he's older than you.
he went with my brother. Yeah.
Was it like a big deal in Torrey Pines that Tony Hawk went to that school? Like,
not at the time.
No, just like hadn't really blossomed yet.
Not at the time. Yeah, I mean, he hadn't done the 900 yet, right?
Oh yeah, that guy.
So that was when it really that's when it hit the mainstream. Tony.
Right.
Him.
Good for all of us.
The guy. Yeah.
But then there's
it's like the boom boom huck jammer.
But what kind of kid were you? Like, were you a curious kid? Were you like entrepreneurial, have a lemonade stand? Were you like
totally at a lemonade stand?
Home? Like,
did I have a lemon? You know what I had? I found a soldering iron. You know what that is?
Sure.
I mean, I'm like never have encountered a soldering iron again in my life, but I found one, and I found these like little, I guess it was solder.
Yeah.
And melted them together and made rings. But they're like really mushy. Like that's not a solid metal, you know? And then went door to door, like asking people for money basically, which is so weird. There was a kid in my class in elementary school who sold frogs, like the little frogs or junior high, like at school.
Live,
the tiny little frogs. Am I screaming?
No.
Okay, great.
Audio's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, it was a town full of entrepreneurs.
Wanting to make
money really mattered, you know?
Make some fast money selling solder rings.
Because
you can.
I remember that. I don't know how long that business lasted, but I don't know. My dad had made me go, because I went to a private like hippie school. Mm-hmm. Till 3rd grade. So before that, I had no friends in the neighborhood. And my dad made me go from door to door asking if there was kids there for me to play with. So then when I went to public school, I was the weird kid who went door to door. You know, so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed. But I'm still friends with those people who thought I was weird.
They love you just the way you are.
In the beginning.
Why do you think your dad had you do that? What was the lesson he was trying to teach, you think?
I mean, I think times were different then. I don't know. He was like, get out of here. Like, go entertain yourself.
Go play in the cul-de-sac. And you had an older brother?
I had an older brother, yeah.
So was there enough years between you two that it was more like you were on your own? He was kind of doing his thing, you're doing yours?
5 years. I was following him around.
Yeah.
Trying to hang out
Be cool.
trying to pee standing up. Yeah. All the things. I'm just annoying everybody.
The little sister. You're bringing your little sister.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you got to, and the other jump is you're going from San Diego to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a job at Thrasher, and there's this picture I have of Phelps, and I'm just imagining, there's a scowl on his face. He's got that East Coast kind of, legend to who he is. And again, here's a young surfer girl coming up from San Diego to work for one of the gnarliest publications in skate.
Well, there was a
Tell me
bridge. There was a bridge there. So it was like I went to college and then I came back, and this woman, like we were all hanging out and there's skateboarders and whatever, and she said, "Do you want my job?" And because I wasn't going back to college at that point. And I said, "Yes." Like, "Do you want my job?" Like, that also doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Like, she's like, "I'm going to go do another job." And it's actually Anne Huffnagel. What was her name before that?
the brand people.
Yeah. She
Wow.
was married to him like for a while. She's awesome. Great. So she was working at Bandwagon, which is like Tumyeto. And so I started working there, which is so weird. She's like, "I'm going to quit and give you my job." So I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's the same kind of culture, but I don't have to look at waves all day." And this is really what I thought, like, want to be there, but I can still kind of, because I didn't want to be on the pavement at all.
No.
But I knew that I needed to make money. So I was doing that. And then I kind of like bounced around to different skate companies for a little while, and then moved up to Giant Skateboard Distribution. This is like a lot of stuff that doesn't matter, but I got a job there as a salesperson. And then this is how I remember it. And maybe my brain is really scrambled. They were like, "Yeah, that job's not open anymore. You're going to be the receptionist."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Well," and then that didn't last that long, maybe like a year. And then I met somebody who was like, "Let's move to San Francisco."
Okay.
Right. So I'd already kind of knew people at Thrasher. I knew Eben Sterling and this guy, Roger. They were sales guys. And I'd like gone up to San Francisco before. So I knew, I was like, okay. And I got a job that first week. I was managing a coffee shop, which managing was like generous term.
What do you mean?
It was, you get paid 25 cents more an hour, and you're just responsible for making sure people are there, AKA you're there, 6 a.m.
Yep.
So I knew I didn't want to work there. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm going to try to get a job at High Speed Productions. Like, this is what I'm going to try to do."
Yep.
So I went in and I showed them my writing. Like, I showed Kevin Thatcher. Remember that guy?
Well, duh. Yeah, of course.
Kevin Thatcher. And he was like, "You are not a writer."
Ouch.
Not a writer. And I wanted to be like you. I wanted to interview people. I wanted to be like a Dr. Ruth, but like different.
Dr. Ruth for skateboarding?
Dr. Ruth for not a Dr. Ruth though. I just wanted to interview people. I
Okay.
wanted to, and I was like doing Q&As for, Strength magazine. Remember
Oh,
that
yeah.
one? And so, yeah, like I wasn't writing, I was like transcribing. But I don't know why I really took that to heart. I really was like, I am not a writer, and believed that. I got to write some things for Thrasher, like
Okay.
in Juxtapose, I
In
think,
Juxtapose,
like
yep.
like little things, and they're bad. They're not great. Little band interviews and stuff.
But that's the other piece of it too, is like, that's a stopping point for some people, right? They're going to quit right there on the spot because somebody that they put in high esteem said, "You're not good enough."
Yeah, so
But you
weird.
got through that. Go there. How did you manage to get through it with, again, you're younger, you maybe have some insecurities, and you still push through.
Yeah, well, they just kept saying, "We like you, call us back." And so I kept calling back. And then somebody at Juxtapose said, or quit, like the ad salesperson.
Okay.
And they were like, "You're a salesperson." And I said, "I know, you said call back." I was calling back. I'd done, telemarketing when I was a kid for money. Like I was a salesperson. Okay.
I could do it.
You're going to pay me what? And it was a lot for, a 20-year-old at the time. I thought, I was like, I am set.
Count me in.
And like a percentage of commission. This is great. But I had to learn about lowbrow art, which was so cool. It was just cool. It was such a great opportunity. And I was taking care of myself. And so that was the motivator.
You figured it out.
That was the motivator. And I got to be around creative people. And Jake, I wish that I could remember the first time I met Jake. I know we went there with the picture. You can hold that up again if you want. That's a cut?
That's a cut.
That's a cut.
There you go. It's easier digitally.
Yeah, then we can cut out all of that and we can go back to Jake because none of that matters.
Jake. Yeah. He
Jake Phelps.
Jake Phelps, there was an interesting thing again in talking about Brian Anderson's career.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a quote I read that you had said in that time about what was going on with that. Do you remember what you said?
Mm-mm.
You mentioned it's like great skateboarders, it trumps everything.
Yeah.
If they're good skaters, it doesn't matter whether
It did.
they're
For him, it did.
And I think that
That's all he cared about.
Phelps, put his stamp on that, and that was the beginning of the acceptance. And I think skateboarding out of all the sideways
The acceptance
sports,
of homosexuality in action sports or
Big
in
deal.
skateboarding.
all of it. I mean, skateboarding adopted and embraces the homosexuality
Yeah.
part as well as all the other diversity and
But it
ethnicity.
didn't. It really, really didn't.
Tell me more.
I mean, look at that Brian Anderson documentary. When was that?
Yeah, that was
2000
Ish.
10
Yep.
ish.
Probably have it in my notes, but yeah.
Something like that. But it's important because there was a ton, like more homophobia than you could think. I mean, Brian was closeted for so long in a time when people were out, like if skateboarding was supposed to be such a accept everyone, I don't think at the time it was. Just saying.
No, it's good to have, or even and call it out for what it is,
Yeah,
because that's
I mean,
where everybody can grow from.
It was hard. It was hard for him, and I don't think that people looked like they didn't. You couldn't really see past like the skater. I mean, now he gets to live his best life, which is great.
He's doing all right.
Yeah,
He's had some great adventures.
Yeah, he's great. But Jake was that's all he cared about was skateboarding. So I think he was like, why are you working here? You can't skateboard, which I can roll around on a skateboard.
Can you kickflip?
Absolutely not.
All right.
I can't even ollie.
We'll have another
I
conversation.
tried. Scary.
Right. So here you are coming up against a guy that's saying, hey, you're not quite fitting in because you don't skate, but you figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny because Joe Brook,
We love Joe.
love Joe.
Good guy.
I met up with him the last time I was here in Portland, and he said something to me about Jake. He said, and we're going to put this on record. He said that he would talk about me, but when I left High Speed Productions, he never talked to me again. So I would come up and visit, not that often, and he would just look right through me, like I did not exist to him anymore.
Why do you think that is?
Abandonment issues.
Oh,
I think looking back on it now, I think he felt like, well, wait a minute, you don't leave here, and I knew that. That's probably why I stayed so long. I mean, I love those people. It was like a nice place to be, kind of.
yeah.
It was fun, creative. And then Joe said that he would be like, well, Lindsey would make us money. Why aren't you guys doing this thing? And I didn't know. I had no idea that he like cared at all.
Well, definitely, it's a different era where he grew up, East Coast DNA. It's a little rougher out there. And, there's kind of that boys club kind of mentality to a degree. And
to a degree. How many degrees? 100 degrees?
I don't know the guy. It's like, I never got to work with Jake Phelps. And so
I just think that like 2000, 90, I was there 97 to the end of 2006. I think that that there was a lot of that. There weren't a lot of CEOs of companies at the time, I don't think, that were women or celebrated,
True.
Or like we didn't know about them. I'm sure they were there. There was like female prime ministers probably, and not in our building. And then Gwen took over, and that's cool. But I was worried I'd gone.
On to the next things.
Yeah.
But San Francisco was fruitful. And it seems like there's this other story where it's like, all right, it's April 11th, 2004. Go back in time. It's a Sunday.
2004.
You're at the Warfield with your camera in hand, about to shoot the vines for the first time.
Oh my God.
What's going through your mind as you're getting in front of this band live for the...
How are these photos going to turn out? Also, I really liked that band a lot. So I was like, this is cool.
You don't want to F it up.
This is so great. And well, I think at that time too, the singer of the band, like he was having a mental breakdown. So he wasn't granting interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what ended up happening there because I can't remember. But he, the Vines were kind of over. That was one of their last tours. But yeah, Luke Ogden gave me a bunch of film, and he was just like, crank it up, we couldn't use flash.
No flash.
It was so scary.
Dark room.
It was so scary. It was so dark, and then nothing turned out. There's a few photos that I really like that turned out, but for the most part, it was just dark negatives. And I was crying. I was crying to him. I was like, this is awful. And he's like, you got these. That's a success. He was a good cheerleader for me. I really felt, and I really looked up to him. Him, Joe Brook, like all the, like I was, whoa.
BK, was he in this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see him much.
He's already out. Yeah. Well,
so cool.
Again, there's
He's so nice.
They're all
Such a nice guy.
Yeah. They all come here to Portland to retire or continue their work, I should say. They're all very busy and active, actually. You also mentioned one of your first band promo shots was with Ozma, outside of the Slims in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Things have not changed. It's just kind of like go outside. We got 5 minutes.
Right.
Like on the stairs at one of those venues.
Right.
And yeah, I just wanted to be involved. I thought like, this is how I can get involved on the creative side, at Thrasher, do the music stuff, because the action stuff, they had it handled. Number one.
Yep.
Number two, I was scared of getting skateboards to my face because that's real. And at that point, I was really getting into music. Like I was really getting into music. So it seemed like I was more a part of when I was photographing a show than when I was photographing anything else, if that makes sense.
So it's like the live performance was the thing that was really waking you up in the morning you couldn't wait to do.
Yeah, it was so fun.
You do it for free because it was so much fun.
I did it for free.
Imagine that.
I did it for free. I mean, but I would be published. So that was the real, that was like the real payoff for me.
Well, that's the addiction, right?
Yeah.
That little credit.
Oh yeah, because I grew up like reading surfing and surfer, and I knew everybody on the masthead. Like they were making this thing happen. When I met the guy that I took his job over for in at Juxtapose, like I knew his name already. I was like, I know you.
Cool.
Yeah. I know you. These were, superstars to me as well as the other superstars. And so, yeah, getting that credit in there, I was like, I have arrived,
And you had.
I mean, I felt like I had.
You found your place within this organization. You found a place that felt right. And that's an incredible part about what you do on your journey is just get in there, own it, and make it yours.
Tried.
Here we
Everybody
are.
just wants to fit in, right? I think. I think everybody wants to fit in. It's like human nature to want to fit in. I mean, you can want to like stand out, but also fit in.
Makes it much more comfortable. I think especially in the combination of, photography and then music. You got two art forms, they kind of come together like peanut butter and jelly.
So cool.
And, that brings up, you're starting to shoot, getting more success.
What is he pulling up now?
What will I do next? Again, and there's so many parts of art and creativity that you've kind of done. And you were an actor at one point.
Another, like one of my
Just
best
a great,
moments.
A great cameo. I think
One of my best moments.
Great. What are we looking at here?
That was Bleachers. Jack Antonoff, world-renowned producer, like 10,000 Grammys guy. Before he had 10,000 Grammys, and Lena Dunham directed that. So I was like, this is amazing. And I was shooting their BTS, like I did a BTS video and stills and did that. She was like, do you want to be in this? And what I was told after that was all of his videos were going to have that beginning. So I could have had my real music video career, but the little girl, so they were going to do like a through line, but she didn't want to do it.
Oh,
she didn't want to act. So they threw that out. I should have begged harder. I should have been like, I'll play the little girl too.
Yes.
Like just the voice or whatever. Yeah. And I did that. I said that line twice. And then she was like, we're done. And no, I thought, I'm cut. Immediately, I thought, I'm cut. They're not going to use it.
Oh, no.
And that's so sad for me. But they got it. They got it. Because I'm that good, if you want to hire me for that too.
But you had the confidence again, out of the blue, hey, do you want to do this role? And you go, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have an acting
Lena
degree.
Dunham. The story. This was like at the height of her Girls fame. That HBO show.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Height of her time. Well, I mean, she's still rising. And yeah, this is a great opportunity. Why would I say no to that? Cut to after that day, I was on my couch crying because I thought, I mean, doing video and stills on something, that's hard. And then like put that on top of it. And this is just one day. I thought I didn't get enough video footage. I also didn't know how to edit. And so I had that thing that I had to do. and I didn't get enough photos, or something. So I was just, again, crying, always crying. I cry a lot.
But is it, we hear it a lot in this industry too, again, is imposter syndrome. Is that why you were crying, or is it? I was always out to prove myself. I think probably still am. But like with Jake, I was like, what kept me going was I was like, you're gonna like me. You're gonna see how important I am. You think I can't do it? I can. I'm gonna do this. And you did.
This is actually good for me to be talking about this because I'm like, I need to hear that again.
Your journey.
Oh, I need to hear like my, it's not over.
It's always moving.
I talked to Cersei Wallace last night.
Oh, no way.
Mhm.
Small connections.
Well, I was like, he's gonna call Robin, I'm gonna call Cersei, and
And
we talked about. She didn't give me anything that I could like really pull out, but she did say that there was a photo which I did not print out, and it's like kind of the first photo that comes up when you Google her name, of her, like, I forget where she said it was, and she's just like in the air and it's just sky that you shot.
Yep.
And I had just remembered before that I licensed that photo from you when I photo edited the Vans book.
Yep.
And so that was
that was you.
That was me.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
again, we're all 1 degree separated here.
Well, because I'd moved to LA and then had a job that I thought was going to be more like Thrasher. Like I was doing marketing for Coachella. So I was
I've
there
heard
for
of
like,
that.
I was there for a year, and then I didn't know what to do. And then this like book came up and they were like, lots of photographers because you worked at a magazine. Like, you could do this.
Mhm.
And anyway, she said, back to you, she said that was like a huge pinnacle moment, defining moment of her career for her. And I was like, that's so rad. Did you know that? Did you know that?
I knew that
photo?
there was a couple trips with Cersei. So again, for snowboarding in that era, women coming up the ranks, there was few that would take the risk because there wasn't really paychecks. There wasn't, when you win a contest, you weren't nearly getting what the boys were getting. And there was the justifications. That's a whole other story.
Still.
It's still ongoing. You're absolutely right. And this has been 20 years that we've been playing this game. But when he said that picture, it really comes back to, we have snow on the ground in Portland today, but it was me being the adult driving the ride team down the I-5 to do these photo shoots. And so you had Cersei was dating Jamie Lynn at the time, who's an icon and a legend, Jake Blattner, Dale Rayberg and his dog Sal, and then Russell, and the cloud of smoke would roll into the front of the cab, and I'd be like, am I high right now? Should I be driving? This is icy road. Like, I'm going to kill the ride team. Like, because I'm feeling paranoid. I must be stoned. Maybe I should pull over.
No.
And you keep driving. And we were in South Lake and that's where we took that picture. So again, in the spring, you start hiking up to get all the fresh snow, and everybody works hard as a team to try to make things look good and work hard. And so Cersei was always driving the bus, like just nobody would, you couldn't pick on her. She would stick up for herself. And that was a big road trip that year. So we'll pop the picture up, share that picture of Cersei, and then we'll have to get her on the show and get her version of the story. Because
you got to get her on this.
Yeah, she's like definitely standout. And it's funny now I think about when we were working on the Nike 6.0 and Nike SB days, and Cersei would be coming to town to negotiate for P-Rod or whoever. And it's like, Cersei's on campus. Look out.
Yeah.
she was a shark when it came to negotiating. And that's her job. And that's what she was there to represent the athlete and get the best deal for him. Something I think I really admire about you, and every story has a point of collaboration. And I think that I've been super inspired on how you talk about collaboration, and how I think it's really part of a DNA, and really a lot of what your success as a shooter has been is how you collaborate. And so with that said, again, I know you've worked closely with, Haley over at Paramore and obviously Tegan and Sara, and those are some of the bigger case studies. But is there any one story in particular that you can pull out of that theme of collaboration that you could share?
Every single time I work with an artist, it's a collaboration. When I'm working with musicians, like, this is about their music. So I guess when you're doing an editorial, maybe it's a little different. But I've always thought of it as like, this is the repetitive image that people are going to see how do they want to, over and over and over
Yeah.
again, how do they want to present themselves? And it's like, it's pressure. Like, I want them to be happy. I think the Tegan and Sara, I was lucky enough to do an album campaign with them,
Right.
and that was like that was a weird like ego wrestle for me, because I was dating Tegan for a long time,
Okay.
and so we had known each other during the time that I kind of
So how old are you now?
flipped. How old am I then?
Yeah, at that time.
30
30. Okay.
something. I transcend age.
You do, but yeah, it's like
What is
we're
age?
building a timeline, and then you're
No.
still, even as a 30-year-old, you're still learning and growing.
Yeah. I
And-
mean,
and
it was time to change careers.
Change it up. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I remember they had hired for the album before, they hired her, Pamela Litke, who's like an amazing photographer, and I was so smashed. I wanted that so bad, and Tegan was like, "You're not good enough yet,"
Bam.
which is really amazing. Not a shitty thing to say at all. It was true. It was super true. And what I mean by the ego thing is, I think I was so afraid that I was going to be looked at as like, you got that because you guys were dating,
Right.
not
Yeah.
because you were good. And also I wanted it because we were dating. You know what I mean? Like, so there was a push and pull, and then we did Heartthrob. And that I was like, I've arrived. They were really doing really well, and I love their music and I love them, and
That's good.
and yeah, like she was a really big like another cheerleader for me, of like, do what you want to do. Why are you always playing it safe? I always had like a 9 to 5. This is really good for me to remember.
Well, there's more to remember too. Again, I was thinking about this image too, as far as
Okay, collaboration.
Collaboration.
Yes. So Haley Williams did a solo album called Petals for Armor, and such a brilliant record, like really, truly. And her Paramore was on kind of like a break, but not broken up. And so she really wanted to do like something different and kind of raw. So I went to Nashville and we took a bunch of photos, and kind of like, we're done. And then there was a song that photo was going to be for. It was called Dead Horse. And, it's exploring a relationship of hers that was ended. And like on her fingers were that person's initials. And one day we were just eating, and she like kind of went like this, and I saw it and I thought, whoa, she's always made her face and like her hair part of her art and expression. So why not incorporate that into a photo? And I think, with her, the encouragement for me to kind of explore different things was there. It was really nice. And she was down for it, and Brian, her makeup artist, was down for it. And then he put the exact number, because that was like the amount of years that they were together.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I don't know if
Means
we
more.
talked about that ever. I'm always like thinking that all of these things need to be, said by the artist. Like, it's their project and it's my turn. I'm speaking now. And she really didn't want like her face, every solo art, it's like her face on the thing, just right there. But it's so raw, and she's so beautiful. I mean, I don't think there's any retouching really on there at all. Maybe like a little speck here and there, but that's really how she looks. Even in the eyeball, you can see me in her eyeball. And I was like, do you want me to get rid of that? And she was like, no. And it's so vulnerable. I think that that goes down as one of my favorite collaborations for sure. What a brilliant artist, you know, and just even to be in that and she has so many ideas. So even to get one idea in there, I'm like, whoa, I have an idea. And yeah, I'm really happy with how that came out. There's lots of things. We did a lot of hidden things. Even in the music videos, and Warren Fu, who's just an incredible. Do you know Warren Fu?
I don't.
He's an incredible music video director and commercial director. I think he's probably doing a feature now. He's so talented. He worked for Lucas Films. He did the Simmer video.
Oh,
he
yeah.
did.
That's the one she's running through the woods.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, she like had this vision and this dream, and we all like wrote different things, and he was so down for whatever. You know, he wasn't annoyed by me at all, and I was like fighting for these little things. We wanted the skeleton of a dead horse, because that song that we were just talking about was, you know, to come in the next release, and he was like, okay. You know, he wasn't, it was so great. I think that somebody who is so good at their job is never threatened. He's so down. He was so down for like every collaboration, and yeah, I fan out on him still.
Good.
Yeah. I told him last time I saw him, I was like, you know, you're still my favorite. And he's like, get over it. Because I'm like, I act like a weird fan. He's so talented. Look up his videos.
It's a great video. And then
he did one for the Paramore record that I'm in. Actually, I have a little cameo.
See, you're an actor too.
I am Alicia Silverstone.
Cute.
Remember her?
Yeah, of course.
I am a music video. What did they call those? Like the ones who were like Liv Tyler was in a bunch of.
I don't know.
They were like music video people who became actors because they got. Yeah,
they got. Some
I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for my call.
Somebody, it's coming. I'm sure it's coming.
Did you see how she walked with those papers?
It's important. She looked important. There might be other things that might have helped out career along as well. But yeah.
Like maybe if I'd done auditions or something.
Or had a celebrity dad, or, you know, those things help.
Oh, yeah.
We don't all have that stuff.
I did not have a celebrity dad, but my dad looked very much like, who's the dad from Roseanne?
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his name? Do you remember his name?
Yeah,
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah.
He was like a shorter version of John Goodman.
Oh, cute.
So cute.
Oh. But in movie making as well, there's like another project that you worked on a few years ago with, you know, the catfishing of Tegan and
Sara.
Sara. It's a big topic, actually. We just had this go through the shop. These scams are constantly going. During the pandemic, there was a few that I heard of where families losing $500,000 that they're just sending out the door to these artists that are scamming us all. Tell me more about this.
That is insane. Do you know the one that I get on the weekly is a podcast. Somebody wants me on their podcast, and it's like always someone, like some kind of celebrity that I've never heard of, and they want me on their podcast, and it's always a Gmail. I could pull up so many of them right now. And what they do, because I know people have fell for it, is they get you to do a Zoom with them, and then they like take over your Facebook account. It's really wild. And then they start selling on your Facebook account, like their ads. And so I just kind of write them back, and I'm like, I would love to do your podcast, because they always offer tons of money, like $4,000.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, I would love to do it, but I need a prepayment.
Ooh.
And then they're kind of like, they'll be like, we can't prepay or whatever. But there's one that I have kind of on the hook right now that keeps being like, you said you're interested.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had I don't know how many Apple cards I've
Yeah.
my names are asking for. And it's funny that my daughter works here at NEBA with me, and she'll get my email saying, I require you to go out and get these cards. And it's like, yeah, Dad, right. Like
An email from you.
yeah, from me to her, because
Wow.
they've kind of figured out the system. And I think about even for my business account, you know, it's been that email's been out for 25 years. I'm sure it's been passed along and sold bazillion times.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I know we've had a LinkedIn scheme where young designers thinking they're going to get a job here at Nemo, as one of our executive creative directors have made an offer, and go out and buy a computer and we'll reimburse you. And that's the scam. And so
Whoa. Wait, that is high level scam.
it is. They've kind of figured out the whole little network to get this, you know,
And
person to fall.
yeah, like is that so there's like scamming for money, then there's catfishing for emotional currency, right? This like
Right.
really, and I think that there's a little bit of both that comes in when it's like trying to get the money. There's like a little like I got over on you or something like that.
Well, they know that these young designers are emotionally wanting
right
to get the
Right.
full-time gig at a shop like Nemo, and then they placate to that.
right.
You know, back to the Tegan thing, it's like, what was that all about? I mean, that was a 16-year process of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still going on. That taught me a lot. You know, in kind of an era of getting scammed. Like, I mean, I get calls all the time from Apple, like it says app 1-800 like Apple
Yeah.
or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
and you know my account and blah blah blah. And I luckily have not fallen for any of it, and I think a lot of it is that I'm really paranoid. Lots of people, you know, particularly I think particularly when there's big fandoms, you know, and it's I don't know. I feel like I'm really messed up from that. I was pretty messed up from that experience. And thank God my memory is not as good as hers, because she remembers everything, you know, like every detail. And it was really like, did you watch that documentary? It's so hard to see that process. And like, imagine you're a musician, you've spent your entire life being like, she's like out and you know, when people were not, and kind of like bearing her soul for that many years, and then somebody uses that like a fan, when like the fans are the people that you want to have a good relationship with, because also like that support, it's a whole thing. And then those fans are basically saying she's a monster. You know what I mean? Like saying things about her that is not true. And that she's doing this, that she's having relationships. And it's horrible. It's horrible. So I'm so happy that she got to tell her story, and that I could, you know, be a little accent in there to, you know, I mean, I've known her a very, very long time. She would not do that. Also, she didn't have time.
Well,
Who's got the time?
even now mentioning it too, again, is just helping people be more aware. So again, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Sure.
And I feel that everybody has to have a sense of paranoia with anything that comes through that sounds better than it really is. And then I worry, you know, for my mom, who is not even keeping up on this stuff. And then, you know, the AI now is, I've heard one scam where they've gotten our voices from these podcasts, and they can make an AI of you and say, Mom, I'm in jail in France, send me money. And it's like,
from this podcast?
I'm just in general, if you got enough voice out there, they can replicate you, right?
Yeah. I answer the phone. How do you answer an unknown number?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever answer those? I go like this.
Don't.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because I don't want them to get my voice.
They don't want you to say yes, because when they get you to say yes, they record that and then they use it for other scams.
That's why.
That's why they're doing it. They
Oh
want,
my gosh. They go, is this Lindsay? You know, whatever. And then I'm like, I just grunt.
See, another strategy that people probably should pay attention to, because we're just making some education.
Well, because I'm scared. I'm super scared of that stuff.
And then I wanted to jump into too, again, some other things that you've done, I think, is again, that grit and just making your own path. And again, the Grammys and the portrait session behind the scenes.
Oh.
I'm thinking like you saw that this was missed opportunity entrepreneurially and something that you could bring to the table. Tell me about that journey.
Doing that. I mean, I don't know that anybody would think it was as cool as I did, but I watched, there was Danny Clinch. He did the backstage portraits for the Grammys for the winners for years. And I think that was a real career builder for him. And I didn't know who else had shot it. Maybe it was only him. I don't know. I think there was some other people potentially. And that was something where I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that. And he would have time with them and create these beautiful portraits. And I don't know what their deal on the back end was. And I don't know if I can talk about my deal. It's different. And, they wanted to do something different that year. And that something different was not exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was really fast. They wanted people in and out, and they wanted like social, and then they wanted like a exclusive portrait that would just kind of be theirs, like kind of like the special. I think that's what happened. I in my mind, I think Danny Clinch would make these beautiful portraits of them with their Grammy or without or whatever, and they were all really creative. So it was just in one space. And it was just all different, and we've seen those portraits. They're iconic. I love using that word, but they are iconic. And yeah, so I wanted that, and I got a call. They were like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, how did they know? How'd they know I want to do that?
Just put it out to the ether.
And then pandemic. So they, it was like kind of tail endy, but they couldn't have, because it had shut down, they couldn't have it, whatever. None of these details matter. But I brought 2 people from LA, but I couldn't bring a third. And there were so many limitations. And so I hired somebody local who I don't think he ever sent me, maybe he sent me an invoice. I don't know, because he was asleep, which is crazy.
There's some advice, kids. Sleep on the set. You'll get promoted? No,
well, I don't know, because you have one day, and so we didn't have all the hands we needed. He literally was asleep, which is so, and apparently, and was one of the best that I could get at the time. So there's maybe things have changed, but there was a real need for people out in Vegas. There's probably some job opportunities there. I imagine, but also people are working really hard there. So if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, I'll say he probably was working a night job too, so he was tired. So yeah. So I think that doing those, I don't know what we wanted to talk about the, I wish that I could do that shoot again. I wish that I got another chance. They actually had, that photographer Rankin.
Yeah.
He did it this year.
Huh.
And I know that he did not have the same stipulations that I had. I'm just going to say this.
I'll
I'm
get
going to be
Cersei
real.
to negotiate for you next time.
I'm going to be real. And I'm going to go on record saying this because I've wanted to. I was so nervous because Bonnie Raitt was coming back. And that's legendary. And she was getting the Legend Award, or she got the Legend Award. And she came back and she walked in and she looked at me and she said, "A woman, it's about fucking time."
Wow.
And I went, oh, she noticed, I was like, whoa. And then I talked to her and she was like, yeah, we were talking and somebody was like, hurry. And she's like, we're having a moment. And I've yet, Bonnie, if you're out there, because I did DM you, I DM'd her because, I think that what was so challenging for that, and I hate to I don't want to be like, oh, things are so bad for women. I want to promote the progress, but there's a lot of rollback that's happening right now. So I think it is an important conversation. And what I said yes to doing that. So it was like pandemic and they canceled it. And then I was like, my whole dream is over. You know, I can't do this thing. And then they said, well, we're going to do it in Vegas. And that just changes the scope. And I was so scared. I knew it was not a good idea. Like I knew it would be really hard and maybe I wouldn't be satisfied with the results. And therefore, like, it's one of those things when you get like Grammy award winning artists in front of your lens and they know who, you know, they're going to know who shot that. And I was so sick because we were in Vegas and everybody smoked cigarettes there and came back, didn't have a voice for like 3 days. And the reason I said yes, even though I knew in my gut, it would be better if I had another chance to do it in LA with better resources. And nobody probably knows when they look at the picture, they're like, great. But like I knew, you know, and I thought I'll never get another chance. So I have to say yes. And I don't know, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with being a woman. I have to say yes because I'll never get another chance. Rankin did it the next year. Another guy did it the next year. Bonnie, let's talk. She said to me, don't make me look like Alice Cooper. That's what she said.
Wow.
Alice Cooper. Or did she say Keith Richards?
Keith Richards.
Oh, she said Keith
Oh, yeah,
Richards. That's
definitely.
what she said. Wow. Why was I thinking Alice Cooper? Same, but different.
Yeah.
You know?
It's definitely Keith.
But
Probably.
what a legend. She did say Keith.
Good for her.
Because she was like, I don't want to look like light me up.
Yeah. Give me some youth.
Give me some light. Everybody does. When I walked in here and I was like, there's light. I was like, give me light. I need light. Don't put me in these shadows that are not going to be flattering.
So funny. All right. Speed round. Ready?
Yep.
Film or digital?
Both. Was that fast enough?
Nope. That's it. Your dream subject to photograph, living or dead?
Dolly Parton.
Most overused photography trend that you'd like to see retired?
I don't care.
Favorite venue to shoot in?
Maybe the bottom of the hill in San Francisco or the Echo.
Okay. If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?
An actor.
Most unexpected item in your camera bag?
Currently, like, this is so great. Like a thing of Vaseline. Just, it's dry up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's random.
It's weird. You can also put it on your lens.
Make
it blurry.
Special effects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right. We're closing now. Again, what advice could you give to a young person coming up in their career and as a creative?
I think it's the thing that that Luke said to me was just like, just shoot so much. Just keep shooting. Just
keep doing the craft.
Just keep shooting. Just don't worry. Just keep doing it. If one photo turns out good, it's gonna be good. I also want to go on record here. You are such a legend. This is so, I mean, truly, like, how did Cersei put it? I mean, I've known your work for a very long time. And the fact when you asked me to be on this, I was like Robin told me not to say this because she said, don't say this, be strong. But the reality is I was like, whoa, you want to talk to me? Really? Cool. I want to talk to you, but I'm nervous. But
well, it's mutual. I'm nervous.
You are such a great artist and photographer and nice person.
Oh, wait, thanks.
You have a very good reputation.
Well, we'll tell my mom that.
Yeah, you have a very good reputation, and what you've built here. I mean, I've heard about Nemo for so long. I've been coming up to Portland for a very long time, and people always say like, "Oh, you should go in there and show your work," and I'm like, okay, I'll try, but then I kind of wuss out. So
we could have been hanging out much more.
I know.
But here we are.
Here we are.
Start new relationships.
Never too late.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate all that. And then,
I mean, you've changed people's careers and lives.
When you look back, that's what's fun when you get to reflect and see how you're able to help as Luke has helped you. It's like help
Yeah.
other people get to where they want to go in their careers. It's like that's the fun part
Yeah.
because you never remember the job or how much money you made. You just remember that, wow, this guy actually got to where they wanted to go.
Yeah. I think collaboration too. I think I would also tell my younger self, like, don't be so, I was so threatened. That's why I like love Warren Fu so much, because he's just like, when you're not, there's enough to go around,
Yes.
and even with AI, there's enough. Like AI, it's just a new tool.
And that's it too. But it also brings up like, that AI came up the ranks, creative directors at the big agencies like Wyden in particular is the reason why we're the way we are is they were, my shit don't stink, do what I say. And you're like, but I have an idea that's going to make this better. Just push the button. And you're like, I don't want to be around this. And so you make Nemo, which means nobody. And it's just the idea of having a collective mindset to come up with creative solutions. Cause it's way better when we play in a sandbox together than you tell me what to do. So,
yeah, so fun.
And again, that's the piece that's really, I think you do an amazing job of it. And we didn't have enough time here to share all the great stories of how you're able to really bridge that gap between yourself and the subjects and artisans that you collaborate with. And where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on my website.
Sure.
Yeah, you can find me on my website. You can find me at lindseybyrnes.com, I guess, or on Instagram.
On the gram.
Find me on the gram. Also lindseybyrnes.com. However, you'll see the spelling here. And am I supposed to spell that out? No. And then what am I working on? I don't know what I'm working on. I'm working on, I'm actually like trying to do a little documentary. Oh, the skate. I love that photo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that photo. There's a
Maybe
bunch
that's
of
something.
photos from that session. No, it's so beautiful down in Venice and everybody's so weird.
I got the piss beat out of me in Venice.
You did?
Skating down there. I wasn't get on somebody else's ramp and they're like,
Oh,
not
no.
today, kid. Whack. Down you go.
I was using like a long.
Yeah. Well,
That person, I don't know that person's feet. I don't know who that is. I hope they don't come after me.
never know.
They may. Yeah, I'm trying to work on a little documentary. I did a documentary
Tell me.
a million years ago for Thrasher called 13, and it was like Skaters of the Year. Oh, 13 years in the making. That's what we called it. Because, it's 13 Skaters of the Year. Tony Hawk's in it.
I know
Bringing
that
it
guy.
back around.
I've heard of him before.
Yeah, bringing that back around. And I'm kind of trying to do this personal project and incorporate. I've been doing like a lot of underwater photography for fun. And
That's hard.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to like explore the relationship between photography and like water and like second wave and third wave feminism, and kind of how that has shaped my life, in particular, my upbringing. So we'll see.
There's no wrong answers. You'll
We'll see.
figure it
I'm
out.
going to show you the deck.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to part ways and we're
Cool.
going to go look at the deck.
Yay.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Lindsay.
you so much. Don't cut out the part where I talk about you.